Good morning and welcome to the morning service at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Laguna Beach. We are glad that you have joined us today for worship at UUFLB. My name is Doris Gorecki and I will be serving as the worship associate this morning. And this service is possible because of the dedicated contributions of all who work together to make things happen here at UUFLB. Providing audio-visual expertise and beautiful music, arranging speakers, and overseeing communications about upcoming services, caring for our building, and taking care of all the details to enable the work we do in community. Thank you all. We gather together as a community of seekers to honor the interdependence of life, to respect the dignity of all, and to honor the land we walk humbly upon. This morning and always, let us acknowledge that we walk upon the traditional territories of the Hashimoto and Tongva peoples, the original nations of this land who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. We are committed to respecting and enhancing the sovereignty of these indigenous people. We recognize that we are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dream of a world community of peace, liberty, justice for all. This community this week, with all the challenges and uncertainty that it brings, these words and these principles seem to me to be especially important to our community. In our world, let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. We are delighted to welcome our guest minister, Reverend Dr. Terry LePage, who chose our opening gathering music, I Remember, I Believe, by Sweet Honey in the Rock. Reverend Dr. Terry LePage is an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ who loves to inspire people through preaching. Reverend Terry has served as a transitional minister in Southern California. She previously worked as a research chemist. She currently works for the Deep Adaptation Forum and is a member of Irvine United Congregational Church. She is also active with C.L.U.E, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice, and eagerly supports low-wage workers, immigrants, and incarcerated. Reverend Terry is a frequent speaker at the UUFLB and a friend of this congregation. In the service today, Reverend Terry will be inviting us to consider words from the Hebrew Bible, which are inscribed on the entrance of her home church. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly, and inviting us to put our values into practice. Each Sunday, anywhere there is a service held in a Unitarian Universalist church, a chalice is lit. The flaming chalice is a symbol throughout the world of our faith. If you have joined us this morning by Zoom, I invite you to light a chalice within your home. Today's chalice lighting words were given by Laura Horton Ludwig, titled For What We Shall Give Thanks. The wheel of the year has turned again. Once more, this Thanksgiving season has arrived. How shall we sing our song of gratitude now? For that shall we give thanks, for this moment, for friends near and far, for our breath, for love, for courage and clarity, for strength, for delight, for laughter, for beauty, for the tables round which we gather, for the food we enjoy with friends, seasoned with love and memory, for the sun and moon and stars in the sky, for the trees who have been seen so much and still stand proud, stretching themselves to the sky, for the bright voices of children, for the wisdom of elders, for actions that bless the world, for hard work that makes a difference, for music and art and celebration, for generosity and for compassion, for endurance, for joy, for hope. For all these things, we give thanks as we worship together. Thank you, Reverend Terry, for lighting the chalice this morning to begin our time of worship together. Throughout the service this morning, if you are here with us in the building, I invite you, if you wish, to come forward and light a candle here in the sanctuary in recognition of whatever you are carrying in your heart as you join us for worship today. At UUFLB, we are a welcoming congregation. This means that we are committed to working together, to make a difference, to build community, and to actively dismantle systemic racism and oppression in all its forms. Whoever you are, whomever you love, no matter your age or gender, your ancestral or ethnic background, or your life experiences, and whatever it is that has brought you here this morning, we welcome you to our community of mutual caring and serious intent to grow together as spiritual and ethical beings and to live out our values in the world. It is such a joy for us to have guests on Sunday mornings. If you are here this morning for the first or second time, we'd like to get to know you. If you are comfortable doing so, we like you to share your name with us, your name, where you are from, and what brings you to visit our church today. First, we will go through Zoom, and then we'll go through the building. Is there anyone on Zoom? Nope? Okay. So is there anyone in the building that would like to introduce themselves? Just stand up and tell us your name and where you're from and what brings you us to church today. Okay. Okay. Now let's take just a moment to turn to our neighbors for a quick greeting and offer a personal welcome to old and new friends.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you.
Hi, Annie.
How are you today?
I've got a cold.
You sound like you have pneumonia,
I
girl.
tell you, yesterday my voice was going in and out,
Oh my goodness.
but today not only is my voice out, but I don't feel very well.
Oh,
Honey.
Yeah.
I will send positive thoughts up to heaven, and tomorrow you will be healed.
I thank you.
oh, poor thing.
I know.
I'm going double on my vitamin C, so I'm hoping. Yeah.
Well,
Are you still alone, Annie?
I am. Ross is up in San Francisco. He's going to work tomorrow and then drive back tomorrow night. And then we head up to the mountains for our Thanksgiving.
good.
How fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. This will be my third time up there, I think, for Thanksgiving.
Where do you go?
Oh, we go up to camp.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really great.
That's
Good to see
great.
you guys. Looks like they're starting again.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining us here at UUFLB this morning. We hope that everyone has a few minutes to stay and enjoy coffee and conversation inside our sanctuary or on our front patio. It's very sunny today after the service. And if you are visiting us this morning, please let us know if you would like to be added to our email mailing list so that you can receive advance notice of each service and other events. I have a few announcements today. One is, as always, every Monday at noon, we have Zoom at noon ran by Paul Bogdan. Also, the alternative sleeping location is still looking for blankets and towels, and I believe also sheets. And every first Thursday, we have at the alternative sleeping location, we can bring dinner And if you have any questions, ask around, and many of us will know about that. And here are on the screen, here are some of our upcoming services. And here is.
So let us now be present, be here, gather ourselves in, and you are a little church, and
Turn the mic.
hearts. The size of the church might present some obstacles. The size of the love has got no problems. So it is good to be together, to reflect, to sing, to pray and meditate, and to seek to live the values and to connect with spiritual things that feed our souls. I'm glad you're here. Please stand as you're comfortably able and join Carol in singing our opening hymn. It's number 1026, but they hide the hymnals. I want one. And it's actually, I think it's a song by Carole King, If Every Woman in the World. But the words will be on the screen.
Please sing out loud, and I'll do my best to lead you, as I still have a little irritation in my voice. If every woman in the world had a mind set on freedom, if every woman in the world dreamed a sweet dream of peace, every woman of every nation, young and old in the generation, held her hands out in the name of love, there would be no more. If every man in the world had his mind set on freedom, if every brother stood with brother as a witness for peace, if every man of every nation, young and old, each generation, held his hands out in the name of love, there would be no more. If every leader in the world shared a vision of freedom, if every leader in the world shared a sweet dream of peace, if every leader of every nation worked for justice and liberation, holding hands out in the name of love, there would be no more. If every nation in the world set a true course of freedom, if every nation raised its children in a culture of peace, if all our sons and all our daughters reached in friendship across the waters, refusing to be enemies, there would be no more war.
Let us take a moment to remind ourselves why we come together as a community. I invite you to read these words together when and if it feels right for you. If you have joined us by Zoom, you may want to unmute your microphone so that your voice can be joined together with the voices here in the fellowship building. The words of the unison affirmation will be on your screens. Please join me in reading. May we be reminded
When here,
of our
of
highest
our highest aspirations,
and
and
inspired
inspired,
to
bring our gift
love and
of love
and
and service
to the
to the
humanity.
altar of humanity.
Know once
May we know
again
May we
once
know
again
once
that
again
we are
that we
not
are not
isolated
isolated
connected
beings,
beings,
in mystery
but
but
connected
connected
in
in
mystery and
mystery and
miracle
miracle
to the
to
to the
community
the
universe,
universe,
and
to
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 this
this
each other.
community,
community,
and to
and
each
to
other.
each other.
We have come to a time in our service to briefly share the important events that have touched our lives in the past week. In this fellowship, we are committed to sustaining a community where we can share our sorrows and provide for each other the support and care that are essential for all of us, and also where we can share our joys so that they can be amplified and extend beyond ourselves into the community. During this time of sharing our joys and concerns, we have paused the recording of the service.
Something? Okay. So I am a Christian minister, and I'm going to get a little Christian on you today. I'm going to unpack with you a verse from the Hebrew Bible, and I want to let you know where I'm coming from a little bit. In my church, the United Church of Christ, we take the Bible seriously, but not literally. So for most of us, the Bible is the beginning of a conversation about sacred connection and right living. It's not the last word. We like to say, God is still speaking. And I'll be throwing around the word God in the way I do not usually do here. Sorry, that's what you get for when I'm speaking on a Bible verse that says God in it. Twice. But I want to be clear that I am not talking about an old guy in the sky. That is not my image of God. My image of God is actually very fluid. So where I can, I'll just say the sacred. And where I say God, you feel free to substitute whatever word works for you in your mind. Source, spirit, earth, universe, higher power, whatever works. Also, I can't resist the chance to mix up God's gender a little bit, as if the source of the universe has a gender. So the verse I invite you to explore with me today is one that is treasured by my home church, Irvine UCC, and it's in the book of Micah. Micah was a prophet, we believe, although the short book attributed to him is apparently a mishmash over several centuries. So it's chapter 6, verse 8, and we sing it at Irvine UCC every Sunday, and we sing it like this. God has shown you, O people, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. And that's kind of my church's values in a nutshell. Not as comprehensive as your UU 8 principles, but a pretty good short list. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with God. At my church, Alyssa is keeping tabs on transgender people's rights, or loss of rights recently. She's advocating, informing, being in solidarity, weeping, praying, and letting transgender people know that somebody cares. This helps her cope with her own fears because she was born a different gender. Philip is a foster dad for 2 young Afghan refugee men. This foster dad business started as a short-term gig, but as the boys got older, he couldn't abandon them. They were not ready to live on their own with no work permits and little English. With his systematic engineer's mind, Philip has been fighting for asylum for his kids, and he's become a resource for other refugee families in Orange County. Leslie and Jeanette created our church's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion book group shortly after George Floyd was murdered in 2020. They study meaty books like Isabel Wilkerson's Caste and Richard Rothstein's The Color of Law, maybe because they're both lawyers, as well as fiction, and biography. And reading books like this has changed me. It has shattered my illusions about justice in this country, and that is as it should be, because pretending that justice is there when it's not may make me happy, but it does not serve anyone. Lisa needed to be part of a church where her gay family member would be welcome too. Now she heads the church's welcoming ministry, even though she's pretty new herself. And I know that other people in other faith communities are doing all these wonderful things that healthy spiritual fellowships do, some of which Dara talked about, inspired by what is sacred to us. We are each called to do what's right for us. And if we feel that call, we can sometimes feel like we have to do everything, but we can't. So we do what we're called to do and trust that that's enough. The election, as you might imagine, has been hard on people at IUCC. Some people have been grieving or panicked or angry or numb or all of the above. How are you all doing? Yeah, I'm glad we can admit it. And, you know, a question that's floating around is, what do we do now? Well, what do you do when you lose what you thought you could count on? I actually wrote a book about that. My book assumed that climate chaos was the loss, but the principles apply, whatever the loss. If your world gets turned upside down, it's normal that you feel disorientation, uncertainty, old ways of making sense no longer do. Emotions churn. So what do you do when you're overwhelmed, when you don't know how to fix what's broken? When what you've been doing has failed or no longer even seems to make sense to do? The people I interviewed for my book mostly agreed, start doing something you believe in. Not something you're sure is going to work the way you want, but something you believe in. Take it slow. Maybe you need to believe in something new that you didn't notice before. And I've shared my journey to awareness and reverence for the non-human world. That was part of my journey. So do something not to try to fix and to save, but to love and to care and to serve. We can always do that, even if the first thing we have to do is tend to our own physical and mental and spiritual health. That's doing something too. You know, you used to be able to take it for granted. A lot of people that used to be able to take self-care for granted now have to make it a priority, and that's okay. And do something that fits your values. Micah gives me this great short list of values. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. So I'm going to unpack those three a little. Do justice. Well, the exact injustices that Micah was denouncing are a little fuzzy after 27 centuries, but the prophets are always crying out for fair courts, ethical commerce. They talk about scales that are like loaded, preventing foreclosures and land grabs. That sound familiar? Protecting the poor and the vulnerable and the foreigner against destitution or exploitation. Interesting. We worry about some of those same things, and we might expect they'll be getting worse shortly. A person could understandably feel powerless. And maybe sometimes all the justice we can do is to name the injustice we don't know how to change. By naming it, we refuse to normalize it or ignore it or scapegoat the people who are crushed by it. And maybe sometimes that will have to be enough. A traditional Jewish book called Ethics of the Fathers Pirkei Avot, has a saying that sustains me in times like this. You are not required to complete the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. Do justice. By this, I mean restoring fair and right relationships, not punishing those who've done wrong. When punishment is the answer, everybody's miserable. Cornel West said that justice is what love looks like in public. I like that one. Justice is what love looks like in public. True justice does set limits on behavior, but does not demonize, despise the perpetrators of injustice. If we do this, and it's so tempting, if we do this, we fight fire with fire. We become like what we hate. And it's so easy to rationalize the bad behavior on our side of the issue. Oh, that's just an exception. Oh, they're not really that bad. Oh, they don't really mean it. Just like the other side does, right? And the more alarmed we get about their behavior, the easier it is to rationalize the bad behavior that we're tempted to do in response. Instead, do justice, real justice. Set respectful limits as you're able without returning hate for hate. This is not an easy teaching to live out. And is it ever needed right now? We know what Martin Luther King said is true. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So we do justice when we love kindness. Always a good idea, right? Loving kindness. Except the word that got translated kindness doesn't really mean kindness. Chesed, it means steadfast love, persistent love, faithful love, love through thick and thin, love that may not be returned, love that may be deserved or not, love that forgives and forbears and risks disappointment. The hard kind, the kind of love that the Bible often attributes to God. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his chesed endures forever, his steadfast love. Psalm 136 repeats this verse 26 times to make the point. God's chesed, God's steadfast love, endures forever. So our verse of the day is not challenging us to commit random acts of kindness, as fun as those may be, feel free. But we are challenged to cherish steadfast love, which is a lot more work. People are easy to love when they're lovable. They're harder to love through thick and thin, to love when the love may not be returned, to love deserved or not, to love by forgiving and forbearing and risking disappointment, to love God's way. In this age of disposable everything, steadfast love is a deep and countercultural challenge, an art and skill that many people have never experienced in the giving or the receiving. As soon as things get hard, so many people these days cut their losses and move on. No wonder we're in an epidemic of loneliness. We may not be very good at steadfast love, but we can try. We can practice. Who knows? If we don't keep cutting and running, we might get better at it. And this will be a timely reminder for some of us as we face certain relatives during the holidays. Do take care of yourself. Do set limits. But see if you can find a way to love, if not like, the difficult people in your life. We need chesed, persistent love, for our spiritual communities too. Nadia Bolz-Weber, my favorite tattooed Lutheran pastor, used to give an interesting little speech to church newcomers, she'd say, "I'm glad you love it here, but at some point I will disappoint you, or the church will let you down. Please decide on this side of that happening if, after it happens, you will stick around anyway. Because if you leave, you'll miss the way that God's grace comes in and fills the cracks of our brokenness. And it's too beautiful to miss. Don't miss it. Chesed, steadfast love. Don't miss it." Can we find it in ourselves to practice chesed to those whose values repulse us? What does that even look like? Well, it looks like we get to try for a few years now, if we're up for the challenge. Let's compare notes in a year and see how we're doing. That should keep us humble, which brings us to God's next request of us. Walk humbly with your God. I love the idea that as I progress through my life, I can walk with God. In my theology, God is ever present, but I need reminders that that's true. The trick is to notice the sacred with me, around me, in me, and to remember to allow that presence and power and love to work in me and through me. I believe that this is how we are empowered to do justice and to love steadfastly, whatever that looks like for each of us. How do you cultivate that kind of relationship with the sacred? Well, UUUs know all kinds of different ways because you cherry pick from all the world's religions. I love it. Over the centuries, people have so many spiritual practices. We can start by paying attention and being honest. And it helps to hang out with people who want to live the same values that we do. It helps to be humble. Walk humbly. You know, I could get pretty full of myself if I was thinking that God was walking right here with me. I could get in trouble. My friend Peter, who is a gay professor of religion, has a t-shirt that says, "Jesus, save me from your followers." God save us from people who think that God is on their side, that they have a direct line to God, that they can tell you what God wants. Walking humbly means we are partners with the sacred, but junior partners. Listening, loving, learning, wandering off, messing up, being forgiven, and always loved. One more bit of wordplay, one more bad translation. God does not require these things of us. God longs for them. The Hebrew word that got translated require is darash. And only in this one verse in the whole Hebrew Bible, as best I can tell, is it translated require. Everywhere else, it's seek, long for. And that is 164 other times in the Bible. So in Psalm 34, it says, "I required the Lord and he answered me." No, it doesn't. It says, "I sought the Lord and he answered me." In Psalm 105, it says, "Look to the Lord in his strength, require his face also, always." No, it doesn't say that. Seek his face always. So, the sacred longs for us to practice justness and love steadfastly, and for us to walk humbly with her for our well-being. The sacred earnestly desires for us to behave in ways that will help us thrive as individuals, as communities, as a nation, as a planet. So let me try with the tweaked words to sing that song again. God has shown you, O people, what is good, and what does the Lord long for from you? but to do justice and to love steadfastly and to walk humbly with your God. So, I've probably overanalyzed this brilliantly simple verse. PhDs give you that hazard. Just remember, do justice, love steadfastly, walk humbly with God. It's a tall order, but it isn't an order. It's an earnest plea from the one who loves us more than we can ever comprehend, who longs for the very best for us, and who will walk with us in every stumbling step we take as we seek to live in her way. Amen. I invite you now to sing with me the closing hymn. It's number 349 in the Fat Hymnal, We Gather Together, and Carol will help us out.
We gather together to joyful thanksgiving, acclaiming creation, whose bounty we share. But sorrow and gladness we find in our living. We sing a hymn of praise to life that we bear. We gather together to join in the journey, confirming, committing our passage to be a true affirmation in joy and tribulation, in human care and hope, then we are free.
Now is the time for us to extinguish the chalice at UUFLB and within our homes with words from Elena Westbrook titled Holy and Generous Love. Go in hope, for the arc of the universe is long and we can bend it towards justice. Go in courage, for together we have the strength to confront injustice in our daily lives and the larger world. Go in love, because a holy and generous love is both the reason and the means by which we transform our lives.
As you go forth from this place, take with you the values that you hold most dear, trusting that whatever the state of the world, they are still worth living. They, and whatever else you claim as sacred, will sustain you in body, mind, and spirit. Hang on, love, do justice, walk humbly. So be it. Amen.
Please join me in singing our final hymn, which is Let There Be Peace on Earth. The lyrics will be on the screen. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with earth as our mother. We are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be lovely day and happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, what's it? Hey, he wants to. I like him actually. Excuse me. I'm beautiful.
Hi, Annie. Hi, Carolyn. What did you guys think?
Are you all better, Rachel?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, thank you for sending me your healing thoughts. Actually, I missed your first part because I had to run and throw up.
Oh, honey. I'm so sorry. That's tough. That I went through that a few weeks ago and it's not fun.
It's not fun. Here, let me show you guys if you can see
Hi,
it.
everyone.
Hi, Pam.
These are-
Take that one, put it right on it. It's all yours. Thank you for being here today. Want to say hello to the folks? And now you are. Well, apparently there was some problem, so now you can come when you want.
Rachel said she misspelled something.
Oh, is that what
That's
it
how it
was?
went.
Oh, funny, because she kept saying, I tried to add her. and it didn't work."
Can I tell you something? You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
There's only one thing I need you to do.
Yeah.
Not mess.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Carolyn.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have a
Happy
wonderful time.
Thanksgiving.
And
Yes.
oh, Rachel, I hope you're better by Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I will be. We've got cooking and everything planned.
Oh.
Also, Carolyn, I hope that you have a wonderful move. That's pretty.
Oh, I know. It's sad and it's happy and it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, I'll be close to my son, my daughter-in-law, and my puppy dogs.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. I
And
have
you'll
to,
have your internet set up so that you can join us for service next week.
oh, I don't know.
Well,
I'll check with the main office.
I bet they've got
Make
good.
sure I have internet. Okay.
One good
I'm
thing.
supposed to have all that stuff, I think, but I don't know. I won't know until I move in.
Well, one good thing is it's probably someone else's responsibility to make sure you've got good internet and it's working.
Exactly,
Maybe that's
exactly.
a joy, Carolyn.
Hey,
Oh,
Pam.
my goodness.
Pam, will you tell Dara she did a wonderful job?
Yeah,
There she is.
You
Oh,
really,
good
Dara,
job, Dara.
amazing
Good
to
job.
watch from the first time you did it to now. Really good.
and I missed recording a little bit of it, but I recorded most of it. So that was good. You know, Dawn is amazing for being able to handle, you know, all of the Zoom stuff. I did my best today, but I'm not Dawn.
You did a good job, Pam. You did.
I was wondering when someone said, you know, and Dawn is going to do this, and I'm looking, going, I don't
Oh,
see
sorry, I
Dawn
didn't say
here.
that. I
You
said
did
audio
say.
visual. No, I just said audio visual.
Dara, my dear, you did say that Dawn was going to put a slide.
Yes, she did.
She did.
However, I did it anyway, even though she was gone. Sorry.
You had a good teacher, Dara.
Yeah, we're a good team. Raj, we are a team. I
Hi.
hope you didn't mind me doing the chalice.
No,
Oh,
no,
thank you.
I didn't.
I was thinking,
didn't-
oh, maybe I better walk up and do it. and
I
then
usually
you
just
did.
say, "Oh, Mom, can you do that?"
Yeah, no, that was lovely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you
Okay,
guys
well,
did a great
guys,
job.
I'm going to get back to packing, so I'll say goodbye.
Bye,
Hopefully till
Carolyn.
next week. All
Have
right.
a wonderful
you.
and safe Thanksgiving.
Yeah. and
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
complimenting
My
Dara to have a
son
wonderful-
is a wonderful chef and he's doing prime rib because he doesn't like
Oh,
turkey.
my favorite. Ooh.
Sorry about
Well,
that.
I will live through you vicariously because we're just going up to the mountains and having turkey.
Like, oh,
okay. Well, everybody enjoy Thanksgiving and hopefully I'll see you next week.
Okay.
guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tomorrow, maybe not.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It is tomorrow.
I'm gonna go visit. Good to see you.
Thank you. Bye.
I guess we can close down our Zoom.